Thank you, Marielle, and to everyone for being here again today.
Merci Marielle d'être là. Merci tout le monde.
Not a leg to stand on.
Aucune jambe sur laquelle s'appuyer.
To briefly review the Dharma talk yesterday.
Une brève révision du Dharma talk qui a été donné hier.
Not a leg to stand on means not having a foundation or basis.
N'avoir aucune jambe sur laquelle s'appuyer signifie n'avoir aucun fondement, aucune base.
In this context,
Dans ce contexte,
we cannot practice from the standpoint of the deluded seeking self.
de ce point de vue, nous ne pouvons pratiquer à partir du soi illusoire centré sur lui-même.
We cannot practice from that standpoint because it is without a foundation.
Nous ne pouvons pas pratiquer à partir de là simplement parce qu'il n'y a aucun fondement.
What we call the self is actually unstable.
Ce que nous appelons le soi est en fait très instable.
Examine yourself.
Voyez-le vous-même.
What we call self
Ce que nous appelons le soi
is actually wavering.
est vacillant, constamment vacillant,
Unstable.
instable.
It has no foundation.
Et n'a absolument aucun fondement.
This is the difficulty, the frustration of practice from the standpoint of the self.
C'est là la grande difficulté et la grande frustration qui vient du fait de vouloir pratiquer à partir du point de vue du soi.
Done properly,
Mais si c'est fait correctement,
done thoroughly,
si c'est fait complètement,
it is also the way through.
c'est en même temps la voie qui nous permet de traverser au travers.
This is what you must confirm in your practice.
C'est ce que vous devez vous-même confirmer dans votre pratique.
Otherwise, you already know.
Autrement, vous le savez déjà.
You simply prolong the distress, the disease.
Vous ne faites que prolonger la détresse, le malaise,
Perhaps even exacerbate it, make it worse.
peut-être même l'exacerber, le rendre pire.
An early Chinese Zen expression, the way needs no cultivation.
Une expression chinoise ancienne, la voix n'a pas besoin d'être cultivée.
Just don't defile, dirty or stain.
Évitez simplement de la souiller.
The genuine urge, the real need to practice
L'urgence, le besoin de pratiquer.
Where does that come from?
D'où cela vient-il?
Practicing properly the way which does not need cultivation
Pratiquer correctement cette voie qui n'a pas à être cultivée
is itself awakening.
c'est en soi l'éveil.
Awakening practices itself freely.
L'éveil pratique lui-même, librement.
True practice is inseparable, cannot be separated from awakening.
Une pratique véritable ne peut tout simplement pas être séparée de l'éveil.
True practice comes from awakening.
La vraie pratique vient de l'éveil.
That is how thoroughgoing our practice must be.
Notre pratique doit être à ce point-là complète, entière.
By all means, master the techniques of meditation.
Bien sûr, maîtrisez bien les techniques de la méditation.
The technique, the physical techniques of the body and posture.
Les techniques physiques du corps, de la posture,
Of the breath,
de la respiration
and of the mind, the mental attitude.
et de l'esprit, les attitudes de l'esprit.
I have already detailed these practices, so I will not go into detail here.
J'ai déjà décrit en détail ces pratiques et je n'y reviendrai pas ici.
The essential point is this:
Le point essentiel, c'est
you must master those techniques
vous devez maîtriser ces techniques
so that they can be forgotten.
de façon à les oublier.
They are not something we do to get somewhere.
Nous ne les appliquons pas pour arriver quelque part.
If so, we have not mastered them yet.
Si c'est le cas, alors nous ne les maîtrisons pas encore.
Mastering those techniques is simply giving all of ourselves.
Maîtriser ces techniques, c'est d'abord et avant tout se donner complètement soi-même.
Giving all of ourselves to this.
Se donner soi-même complètement à ceci.
With body, with breath, with mind.
Avec le corps, la respiration et l'esprit.
This,
Ceci,
being without self,
être sans soi,
does not come and go.
ne va ni ne vient.
The only way to actually confirm that
La seule façon de le confirmer,
is immediately and directly.
C'est immédiatement et directement.
The seeking self, on the other hand, is nothing other than coming and going, and coming and going, and coming and going.
De l'autre côté, le soi qui cherche, lui, ne fait que ça. Aller et venir, aller et venir, aller et venir.
It is by its very nature wavering and unsettled.
C'est dans sa nature d'être vacillant, d'être instable.
You must confirm this in your bones.
Vous devez confirmer cela dans vos propres os.
The seeking self cannot come to rest.
Le soi qui cherche ne peut jamais s'apaiser.
It doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Il n'a aucune jambe où s'appuyer.
The self is by its very nature split.
Par nature, le soi qui cherche est divisé.
Thus, it seeks for itself.
Donc, il se cherche lui-même.
It seeks for release, for enlightenment.
Il cherche la libération, l'éveil.
Round and around and around we go, where we end and nobody knows.
Alors, on tourne en rond et petit patapon.
This is the difficulty, the frustration of practice.
C'est là la grande difficulté et la grande frustration de la pratique.
More precisely, this is the difficulty, the frustration of not properly practicing.
Plus précisément, c'est là la grande difficulté et la grande frustration de ne pas pratiquer correctement.
Where are you trying to get to in your practice?
Où voulez-vous aller dans votre pratique?
You only make that mistake because you have yet to see where you are actually coming from in your practice.
Vous faites cette erreur simplement parce que vous ne voyez pas encore d'où vous venez dans votre pratique.
There is the trap where you get stuck.
C'est là le piège dans lequel vous vous prenez.
There is your way through.
Et c'est par là que vous pouvez vous en sortir.
You don't need a leg to stand on.
Vous n'avez pas besoin d'une jambe pour vous tenir debout.
Our self-identity, what I am,
Notre identité personnelle, ce que je suis,
what is that?
qu'est-ce que c'est?
What is it that continues through time and space?
Qu'est-ce que c'est que cela qui traverse le temps et l'espace?
Until you see through that, you will just keep running, chasing yourself.
Jusqu'à ce que vous ayez vu clairement là-dedans, vous allez toujours continuer à chasser votre propre soi.
Misunderstood awakening, enlightenment can seem like some kind of zombie existence without thinking or feeling.
Lorsque c'est mal compris, on peut croire que l'éveil mène à une vie de zombie, de mort vivant.
I declare that grasping on to some self-identity, some continuity,
De mon côté, je dis que s'agripper à une identité quelconque du soi,
that is dehumanizing.
voilà ce qui est vraiment déshumanisant.
That is, so to speak, depersonalizing.
On peut même dire que c'est dépersonnalisé.
Without a leg to stand on.
Sans aucune jambe où s'appuyer.
Who needs a leg to stand on?
Qui a besoin d'une jambe pour se tenir debout?
Once fall flat on your face and then see.
Pour une fois, écrasez-vous complètement face contre terre et voyez.
The ground that you fall down on is the same ground that you pick yourself up from.
La terre sur laquelle vous vous écrasez est la même terre à partir de laquelle vous allez vous relever.
Not a leg to stand on.
Aucune jambe pour se tenir debout.
You don't need it in the first place.
Vous n'en avez pas besoin dès le départ.
You must confirm this in your bones.
Vous devez le vérifier vous-même dans vos propres os.
This is release from all.
C'est la libération.
This is release for all.
C'est la libération pour tout.
And it is truly beyond cultivation.
Et c'est vraiment au-delà de toute cultivation.
Master those techniques of meditation until you confirm that for yourself.
Maîtrisez les techniques de méditation jusqu'à ce que vous puissiez le confirmer pour vous-même.
The way does not need cultivation.
La voie n'a pas besoin d'être cultivée.
It cannot be defiled, dirtied, or stained, or corrupted.
Et la voie ne peut pas être souillée, corrompue ou salie.
Here is where practice truly begins.
Ici, la pratique commence vraiment.
This is inconceivable. It cannot be conceived.
C'est inconcevable. Ça ne peut pas être pensé.
Truly inconceivable.
Vraiment inconcevable.
I don't mean, okay, now we have all these things, this world we can conceive.
Je ne veux pas dire, oui, il y a ce monde que je peux concevoir.
And then over here, there's the inconceivable.
Et à côté de cela, il y a l'inconcevable.
You'll never come to the end that way.
Vous n'arriverez jamais à la fin de cette façon-là.
This pen is inconceivable.
Ici même, c'est inconcevable.
You are inconceivable.
Vous êtes inconcevable.
Surely you can conceive of yourself in 1,000 different ways. It's true.
Bien sûr, vous pouvez penser à vous-même, vous concevoir de mille et une façons, c'est vrai.
And that you, that me, is inconceivable, marvelously, wonderfully inconceivable.
Mais ce moi, ce vous, est merveilleusement, miraculeusement inconcevable.
Beyond compare.
Incomparable.
I will finish up with a few more words and then leave time for questions and discussion.
Je vais parler encore un peu, puis ensuite laisser du temps pour les questions et les commentaires.
There is a simple mondo or exchange from early Zen that well expresses everything that I have been saying.
Il y a un mondo, un échange ancien qui résume bien tout ce dont j'ai pu parler.
Very fundamental exchange from early Zen.
C'est un échange fondamental du zen des premiers temps.
It's between the monk who came to be called the Great Pearl and the master Matsu or Basso.
L'échange se fait entre le maître Matsu ou Basso et le moine qu'on a appelé par la suite la Grande Perle.
The monk came and humbly expressed the desire to awaken. He basically said, I come here seeking awakening.
Le moine est venu en toute humilité rencontrer le maître. Il lui dit, je viens pour m'éveiller.
The master responded,
Le maître répondit,
without realizing your own treasure,
si vous ne réalisez pas votre propre trésor,
you leave home and come here seeking.
vous avez quitté votre maison et vous êtes venu ici cherchant.
I don't have a thing.
Je n'ai absolument rien.
What are you seeking?
Que cherchez-vous?
The monk asked.
Le moine demanda,
What is this treasure of mine?
quel est donc mon trésor?
The master responded,
Le maître répondit,
you now asking are the treasure.
vous-même qui posez cette question, êtes votre trésor.
perfectly complete, lacking nothing.
Complet, parfait. Il ne vous manque absolument rien.
Use it freely.
Utilisez-le librement.
Why seek elsewhere?
À quoi bon chercher ailleurs?
With this, the monk awakened.
À ce moment, le moine s'éveilla.
We may say he awakened to what he really has always been.
On peut dire, le moine s'est éveillé à ce qu'il a toujours été.
He simply came home,
Il est arrivé à la maison.
found himself
Il
already there.
s'est trouvé lui-même déjà là,
Treasure in hand the whole time.
avec le trésor entre ses mains tout le temps.
What are you seeking?
Que cherchez-vous?
Have you immediately and directly seen the one seeking?
Avez-vous immédiatement et directement vu celui qui cherche?
Please feel free, for the benefit of all, to raise a question from out of the practice.
S'il vous plaît, n'hésitez pas à poser une question. Nous pourrons tous en profiter.
But make that question as clear and precise, exact as possible.
Mais que votre question soit la plus précise, la plus claire, la plus concise possible.
A clear question allows for a clear answer.
Une question claire appelle une réponse claire.
What is the real question?
Quelle est la vraie question?
Maybe 99% of the practice is right there.
99% de la pratique.
The last 1%, the answer, that's either.
99% de la pratique est exactement là. Quelle est la vraie question? Le 1% qui reste, c'est peut-être la réponse.
Thank you for your gracious interpreting, Louis.
Thank you.
Léon Redler.
Thank you. Jeff, about for once, fall flat on your face. Please help me understand that.
All of the techniques, all of the things you are doing to try to get there, Leon? They don't work, do they?
No.
That's where you fall flat on your face. You follow? I'm not saying ignore, don't take seriously those techniques. No, take them so seriously that you're no longer relying on them to get somewhere. once fail completely in your practice, and you will succeed. You are still behind it all, trying, aren't you, Leon?
Yeah.
That's not wrong. That's not bad.
Hmm.
It's not enough, and it's too much.
Trying is very trying.
Yes, it can be. So I don't mean give up.
No.
I mean finish it. And you finish it not by succeeding, the self doing it. It can't. But by once falling flat on your face. And then there is no logic, there is no rational explanation. All I can say, and it's a typical Zen expression, the ground that you fall and hit your face on turns out to be the same ground that you picked yourself up. You don't need another thing. You don't need another leg to stand on, Leon. But as long as you still seek, you will not be able to fully see that. You see it like a horse running by the window, as they say. You follow? You catch a glimpse. Oh, yeah. But it doesn't satisfy, does it? Maybe it just makes you hungrier for more. Do you want to say anything else, Leon?
No, no, not just
You are
now.
right. You are right where you need to be. Just stop seeking to be somewhere else. That in the sense, a very good sense of being stuck. You follow?
Yes.
The ego self doesn't like that. It wants to be free. Really, it's tying itself up without a rope. But it wants to be free. That's what needs to get stuck. That's what needs to collapse, to fall in on itself. Is that clear enough?
Yes. Thank you.
Pierre Filteau.
Yes, Jeff, this is Pierre. Yes, I would ask you, um, what, how do you see the meditation during the session while we're in Zazen? Uh, is it because my point of view or my problem is that when I meditate on the subjects you bring in your Dharma talks, let's say like split self or self-delusion, well, at the beginning, it's something I try to feel or go in the understanding I can have of it, but quite quickly I come in some kind of a mental state, analyzing, judging, comparing, trying to see what's the split on one side, on the other side. Well, it's an example, but it's my my problem. And well, is it better not to meditate or let's go to thing, or because after a while the mind is spinning, and I have difficulty to come back to the respiration and calm down and be back.
It's a good example, thank you, of what the discursive mind, of what the split self does. It's endless. You're not meditating.
No,
Be blunt, mentally masturbating with ideas and concepts. I say these things not to give you more ideas and fuel for thought. That's pointless. Everything I'm saying is simply to help you bring it all together for yourself. See it as yourself. If you simply take my words, it's worthless. It's less than worthless. It just becomes more confusion. You see that already in your explanation. It's clear. You already see this, don't you?
yes, I do. I do, and that's my problem, and I try to get out of it, but it's like a
How do you get
shell
out of it? How do you get out of it? You
by
try out of
by
it
the respiration
with the breath.
with the breath. Yes,
Well, that's certainly better than trying to think your way out of it and just dispersing into more and more ideas.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sometimes you think and sometimes you don't. In a sense, it's not even a problem. We're human beings. We have a brain. We have a mind. We are in contact with the world. That's not the problem. The problem is what you do with it. Sometimes you're thinking, sometimes you're not. But as you say, the respiration, the breath itself, it's here. Whether you think about it or not, it's always already here, isn't it? So, do you see? The reality has nothing to do with your thought. Whether you think about breathing or not, correct?
yes,
You are already always breathing. Otherwise, you're dead. But you see what the mind does. It then thinks about the breath, perhaps tries to make it deeper or shallow. This is just another layer added on. Huh? Before you think about it, what's there? There is where you direct yourself, if I put it that way, not into the thoughts that come out of it. Where do these thoughts come from? Have you seen that? What is the source of those thoughts, feelings, memories? There, everything comes to a marvelous stop. This is the point of meditation, not thinking about it, letting it come to its own end. And then it comes back to life from here. Then it's not that you don't think anymore. It's not a problem anymore, whether you think or not. You think from here. And when there's nothing to think about, so you see what you're doing. Now apply yourself properly in the practice. Come back to the breath itself, not thoughts about it. This takes some time and some discipline. Yes, use your time well and discipline yourself in this, what is always already here, the treasure in your own home. Stop turning it into something. You see it, don't you?
Of course I do. Yes.
Don't quite know how to stop it. Well, it's up to you.
Thank
If you
you.
would like later on to be in contact, do a kind of one-on-one online, since we can't be in person, I'm here for you. Okay?
Good.
But for
Thank you.
now, use this time and confirm it for yourself. You have what you need, but you must apply yourself properly. It's not difficult. The difficulty is what you're doing with your mind. This is not even one. If it's difficult, see what you're doing wrong and correct it. Do you want to say anything else?
No, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Yesterday, you said that the self is not split. He hears the split, and then you had a comparison with the virus, and it's like you said, the self, the seeking self, self itself is a split and is like a virus. It is. May you comment a bit? This is what you said.
Yes. First of all, it's important to see for yourself, not to think about it, but to realize in your bones what you call yourself, me, I. It sounds like a unity, doesn't it? What could be more of a unity than myself? Yes, of course, me. And from there, everything comes, but me, self, yes. But when we really examine that, it is by its very nature split. I also spoke of using the present conditions, huh? A virus. A virus doesn't really exist, or it cannot continue for long unless it has a host, right?
Yeah.
I think we've all learned this in the past year. It needs a host. I believe I did not make clear what I meant by the virus. What is the virus? I think I actually asked you. I didn't say it. I didn't tell you what it is.
No, it's my
Assumption. Huh?
conclusion.
It's a good one, but I don't accept it. I ask again, what really is the virus here in terms of what seems to prevent us from practicing, what makes us suffer, huh? And
Okay.
what or who is the host that needs to get away from this terrible virus that doesn't even exist unless it has a place to take up residence, to abide in, to go back to earlier Dharma talks. The two come together and the two are released together.
Thank you.
Leon Chiprot.
Jeff, you mentioned that we don't need a leg to support on. Why is that? Because there is anything to be supported in the first place?
Yes, but there's also no need. When I go out of the Zendo, it's cold. Well, I put on a jacket or a coat, and I put on my shoes and not someone else's. But do we need a self-identity to do that?
No?
No. So please don't take it too literally. Now you have to cut off both of your legs and not have a leg to stand on, right? Bodhidharma's disciple cut off his arm at the elbow, they say, but no, that's not what we're talking about. From the beginning, from the word go, as we say, from the very beginning, you don't need a thing to stand on, do you?
No.
See it clearly. See it clearly. Out of that comes real creativity. You know about this from your work, don't you? Being nothing whatsoever, holding on to no, despite all that you have learned as a outstanding photographer. You don't hold on to those ideas and concepts, right? You take them in, and then when that moment of working, it works freely, doesn't it? It works freely. This is where real creativity comes from. Creativity isn't just a matter of getting all your ducks in order, as we say, learning all of the rules and then applying them. That's valuable. But this transcends all rules. It doesn't even need rules. It can freely use them, but it doesn't stand on them. It doesn't rely on them because it's not needed, is it? It's not needed. This is the true release from all, for all. Does this sound abstract? Do you want to say anything else?
Thank you.
Alors, s'il n'y a pas d'autres questions, nous allons retourner en zazen. We will return to zazen. Thank you so much, Jeff, to be with us.
Thank you all.